Welcome back, everyone. I am Beth Ridley, your host for this afternoon, and we are doing live streaming from No Studios, and I'm interviewing inspiring members of No Studios who have interesting stories to tell. Before I get into the conversation with my next guest, I do want to give a shout out to Lisa, if you are listening. So Lisa was the lovely woman who was my Uber driver that I took from home to come here this afternoon. She didn't know about No Studios, so I was telling her all about it, how it's a new venue for creatives and a member organization to bring artists and people who love art together, and that I'm going to be interviewing some really inspiring people. And she said, wow, that's great. Me and my daughter are going to tune in because we're taking a long drive from Milwaukee to Chicago, and she happens to be an artist, but she's getting really discouraged with focusing on her art. It's tough, it's challenging, and she often feels like giving up. And I said, no, don't give up. Have her tune in and listen, because this is what this afternoon is all about. We're talking about people who have taken risks, done creative things to pursue their passion, and never settle in your pursuit for happiness. So with that, Lisa, I hope you are listening, and I hope your daughter is listening too. The other thing I want to say is that these inspiring stories are not just for artists, they're for everybody, because I think everybody faces some challenges in their life. Yes. So my next guest, you are the perfect person to have this conversation with, Ylonda Glover.
Yes.
And when I was reading your bio, here's what struck me. You said that your work is to tap into people's skills to align with organizations. And I think really what you're doing is you're taking people's passion to align with organizational purpose. That's maybe how I would paraphrase.
Yes.
But maybe let me hear from you. Exactly what do you do? How do you describe what you do?
Well, my philosophy is always people first. So the goal is to work with others and helping others in building healthy, high-performing workspaces and thriving communities. Because the greatest asset that we will always have is the human capital potential that we were born with.
I love that, and I'm just going to say almost every organization could use you, because I've worked in a lot of corporations and a lot of organizations, and there's always challenges. And a lot of times you don't feel like you're allowing people, you're creating that culture where people can actually be their best. Mm-hmm. They can bring themselves to work and really tap into not just what they do well, but what you're passionate about. Why do you think it's so challenging for organizations to create that kind of positive culture?
Because it's hard work. And in order to really do it, you have to be consistent. You have to align the core values, and you have to go deeper in why that person is there. And usually the reason why someone comes to work and those hidden talents, once you tap into those hidden talents and you understand, and people, there's a saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And part of understanding employees is understanding what they're passionate about, and then also providing that space for them to bring their passion and their talents to work. And you see a lot of corporations now are combining and having an understanding on investing in the human capital potential and really growing the person, and seeing the person as an asset.
So I love that, and I'm just going to have you repeat that quote one more time. You just say it again.
Okay, I said people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
Right, and the whole goal with that is we bring our souls to work every day, and sometimes the heart of the person in that issue, they have to leave it. Mm-hmm. And if we create healthy environments for people, because most corporations have employee assistance programs now. So just having that opportunity for people to thrive, and sometimes thriving mean having an understanding of who that person is, what they can do. When you look at having a career track, every organization, most of them have a career track, you get into the personhood of the person.
Right. So I think what a lot of people forget is that we're all humans. We're not robots coming to work. And even though we may appear to be very professional, you have no idea what's going on at home or what the morning was like before you even left, and what you're bringing to work that is below the surface,
Yes.
right? That has
Yes.
implications.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, how did you get into this line of work? What is your own career path to the point where you are today?
Thanks for asking that question. And I'll give you a real brief example. I was in my master's program. One of the requirements was to read the Wall Street Journal. I was sitting at my kitchen table trying to think about what it is I wanted to do. I was a stay-at-home mom in a master's program, and my eyes went towards Leadership Management Incorporated, which was a franchise. I did some research, went on a computer, found out that the founder is a Christian. Their principles is personal development, investing in human capital potential, and that was in alignment with my core values, understanding and caring for the person first. So they did a lot of organizational development work. So what ended up happening is I purchased the franchise called Leadership Management Incorporated. So when I started off, I was a franchise of Leadership Management Incorporated out of Waco, Texas, and it's actually an international franchise that I was able to purchase.
Interesting. And so, do you still then own that franchise? Where did you go from there?
Well, one of the things is it was a branding issue, and you know too well about branding. So the name of my company at the time was Tri-Success Management Institute, and I had to say a franchise of Leadership Management Incorporated. I had to use that whole name. So because of that, I learned the management consulting business, and because of the branding issues, I ended up not having the franchise because of that, but I learned how to grow a consulting company because I was in a position to learning how to be a great consultant and putting people first, putting people and business first.
So you have experience growing people and then also growing businesses.
Yes, and that's my life passion.
That's a perfect combination. I
Yes.
love it. All right, so as a former corporate executive who had people reporting to her, and I love everything you're saying in terms of making people feel valued so that they bring their best to their jobs, it's hard because it's hard to focus on, I call them those micro moments that are most meaningful. But if you could give me 3 tips as a people leader, what are 3 things I could do that would really make a difference in terms of bringing out the best for the people who are part of my team?
Well, one of my primary hats is as a strategist, so I would say understanding what the goals of the organization is, and every person, once you have an understanding of the goal, the strategy to get there may be different, but you stay focused on the goal and you use the human capital potential of each person, their gifts and talents, and why they were brought in to do a particular job. So if you have 3 different types of positions, but you have the same goal, you're just providing the environment for them to thrive to achieve that goal in a quicker way.
I love it. That makes all the sense in the world. We should be
Yes.
doing more of that.
Yes.
I think one of the keys is to pay attention to that, right?
Yeah, and one of the things too, you have to be a great listener. I think that's key.
Yeah.
And you have to also be a person, a great person who asks questions. One of the things is I had to learn how to listen and ask the right questions.
Right.
And that took practice.
Yeah.
You know, and then not ask the question to ask another question, but really be present.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and what a gift that is to the person that you're with, because I don't think a lot of people, we don't do enough listening.
Yes.
And when you do feel heard and listen, wow, doesn't that feel awesome?
Yes.
Because it like never happens.
right, right.
All right, so I want to ask, you're a member of No Studios, and why and what do you get out of your membership here?
Wow. Well, for 2 months, I drove by and I said, okay, I'm going to go in. I heard about No Studios, and as a writer, I would say a closet writer, I write short stories. I have a research article that's published, and I am a poet. So it just spoke to me in a way that I didn't know I needed. But when I walked through the door, I felt complete peace, and I felt like my gifts and talents were welcome. I love the fact that the no studio, the no in Japanese, it means talent and skills, and that spoke to me. The first time I came into the studio, I met Lisa and Luke, and they received me very warmly, and that made, and because I'm a people's person,
Yeah.
I instantly connected with them, and that was a blessing for me. And so I'm here with the goal of giving myself permission to be the writer, the poet, because I think sometimes I get so focused on the business side that I lose the writing, the creative side. So now I'm at a point in my life where I want to bring forth more of my creativity into the work that I do.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that when you said that you write and you're a poet as well, and it sounds like you're super busy with your consulting practice. So how do you find the time? How do you continue to nurture that aspect of what you do? Because I think a lot of times we feel like, oh, our day jobs come first, and the creative side of us has to take a back seat.
And it varied from season to season. And this is a season in my life where I'm intentional, so I set time to write. That helps. I do in the morning, I brain dump to get all the clutter out of my head in terms of journaling. So I have to be real intentional. But when you write poetry, just like when you're writing lyrics to a song, there may be a situation that happened in the community, in the world, and I'm inspired to write a poem.
I love it.
So
a couple things that you said that I think are really helpful to me personally. So it's kind of like, make sure that you're being kind to others. That's sort of the success to leadership. And a big piece of that is listening and asking.
Yes.
And getting to know someone, right? But then also being kind to yourself is important too, and making sure that you're carving out time to pursue the other things other than work that are really important to you. And I love the strategy of a brain dump every morning. I'm totally going to do that, because how many times do we wake up in the morning and it's like, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. And like, I think if you just like put it all down, you can feel like, okay, it's been acknowledged.
Yes.
But now my mind is clear to maybe focus on some of those other things that I find joy in.
Yes, so for 15 minutes, I have a separate journal where I just brain dump. So whatever I don't think about, I'm just writing. And that actually allows me to get my brain going in the morning. And I don't read it, because one of the processes is not to read it, just brain dump.
Yeah.
And be mindful of that process, that it's needed.
Yeah.
Because when we're sleeping, there's so many ideas and thoughts that come to our head.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? I might try to do that brain dump at night, because that's sometimes I have a hard time going to sleep.
Okay.
Because there's so many things. I love the added little tip of don't read it. I think if I read my brain dump, I would be shocked and disgusted with myself.
Yes, yes,
I love it.
yes.
Man, you are a wealth of information. I can see why your consulting practice is so successful. I think you touch people on the human level, but then also how that rolls up to the organizational level too,
Yes,
right? Because
yes.
we're all organizations are made up of individuals who contribute to it.
Exactly, exactly. And it's important.
Yeah, yeah. Lovely. I'd like to spend more time talking to you, but we got to stay on schedule here. So I'm going to say thank you.
Thank you.
And goodbye. Please enjoy the rest of the activities that we have planned this afternoon. If you haven't been down to No Studios in person, maybe this is a good time to come. So come on down. We've got a lot going on. We've got performances and tours and live art happening. But if you just can't make it, that's okay. Go get yourself more popcorn. I would say now is it after 5? What time is it? Oh, I would say it's time for a cocktail. Just go ahead and grab that and come. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and it's the weekend. So grab a Bloody Mary, a mimosa, and come on back, because we have more great interviews coming up.
Okay, so you want to open a bar. No, it's not a bar. It's a social space. Okay, well, it's a club. Well, it's a club, but it's really about artists and about engaging in the community. We want a screening room. But we also would love a bar and a coffee area where people could hang out. It would be great if we had tenants involved, but it would also be great if we had an upper space where people could work and flow together. We want to incubate, we want to encourage and socialize. A place where you can just relax between meetings or obligations. A place where you can have an idea and say, hey, you know what would be great if we could do this or we could do that. That's what this space is all about.